May 22nd, college baseball picks on the college baseball experience for the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. It is the bank account that is built for bettors. Sign up today over at edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN, and get a $25 deposit bonus. What's going on, everybody? My name is Noah Bieniek. Welcome back into the college baseball experience. Doing one of these shows, actually it's like the technically earliest in the morning that I've ever done it, latest in the night. Didn't have a ton of luck finding a bunch of pitchers, so it's going to be really kind of a pick your spots type of day. But I'm going to do my best to set up the matchups for you guys like I do in every single conference tournament picks episode and NCAA tournament picks episode. Finding pitchers is kind of taboo. There's a lot of gamesmanship between the head coaches in a lot of this stuff. So I'm trying my best to project who's also pitching and also digging through game notes, press conferences, and whatnot, letting everybody know that listens to this episode who is going to pitch or who I think could pitch. The projections aren't nearly 100% correct, but I do an all right job. A lot of people that tune into this show love these type of episodes. And yeah, I'm going to zoom through the slate of games for today that we either have currently betting odds on or that we will probably get betting odds on throughout the day. Because I've been able to take notes on the conference tournaments that have been offered by DraftKings and other sports books routinely throughout this is the fourth year in a row that I've been doing this. But actually, like the 8:40 start time is actually, good for some people because now they can jump in and watch live. Even K Britt saying, no, this is crazy. I'm an accountant sitting at my desk working. I've never once gotten to watch you live. What's going on, K Britt? Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit more refreshed. I still need a little bit of a nap after this, but again, I said it yesterday. The Wednesday, Thursday games are always the toughest during conference tournament week, with pitchers and managers trying to either hold back, what their pitching plans are. So they might have that slight advantage over the other team, making them have to prepare for multiple guys. Or they're just trying to keep their arms, like not really risk anything as they have the NCAA tournament just a week ahead. But without further ado, let's jump into this thing. And like I said, there are some games that I think will be offered at some point, but are currently off the board. We are not going to spend much time on them, especially if I don't have pitchers for them. I'm going to get out of this episode with like an hour. That's the plan. So starting off with this one, first pitch is, I believe, 9 Eastern. So there is only 15 minutes to go. And those that are listening know that it's not being currently offered. New Mexico State and Kennesaw State, to be announced for both teams here. For the Aggies, I think it could be Ian Hoslett. And for Kennesaw State, Harry Kane was my best guess. But yeah, TBA's there. We'll move on. BYU, Arizona begin play in the Big 12 tournament for today in Globe Life Field. It's a TBA for BYU, but Arizona is going to go with Owen Kramkowski, who has recently turned into their Game 1 starter. The Wildcats are minus 200. The Cougars, off of their win against Arizona State, are plus 154. They threw their number one in Justice Riser. Now, after that, after their Game 1 in typical series throughout the back half of the season, they've really done it by committee. There's been an opener, and then it's been a bulk guy. One of those bulk guys has either been Jaden Harris or Garrison Sumner, and neither one of them have been great. So that's one thing. And then you got Owen Kramkowski in his last 3 starts has an 8.81 ERA, which is not great. Kramkowski on the season 7-5 with a 5.45 ERA and 72.2 innings, 67 strikeouts, 13 walks. Opponents are almost hitting 300 against him. This could be an overlook. The total right now in BYU, Arizona for a 10 a.m. first pitch Eastern time is 10. I like the over 10 in BYU, Arizona there. Yesterday, we went 3-1 on the plays. I put a parlay together. That was the only loss that I had. Otherwise, all three that I loved on yesterday's show that were straights and singles, they all hit. So it was great luck on the show yesterday. The total that we hit was the Kansas State Houston over, and that thing cashed in the 7th inning. Frost for Kansas State kind of blew up in the 2nd inning, and Paul Schmitz gave up 2 runs in the first. We had 7 runs in the first before the first 9 outs were made of that series, before the first 6 outs were made of that game. So, yeah, that was a great overplay there. Next up, no betting odds here. Texas State, Troy. Honestly, they just came out here. Texas State, Troy, we do have betting odds. Bobcats are plus 200. Trojans are minus 270. The total's at 13.5. No pitchers for this matchup, though. Texas State has already played 2 games this week. They've really kind of – I think they went aggressive in the play-in game, and they used Valentin, Tovar, who've been their top 2 arms in the weekend series. And then in yesterday's game, they really didn't push it too much. They could go with their game 3 starter for most of the weekends that they've played this season, which has been Austin Eaton. That's my best guess there. And for Troy, the last 2 weekends in a row, they've thrown Noah Thigpen in game 1. Yesterday, they didn't use him. They went with Garrett Gaines, and he returned from injury within the last week. So I think they could go with Noah Thigpen here. But again, not a ton of confidence in those projections. There will be more where I feel better about them, but now is not the time. Again, kind of just trying to pick our spots the best we can with today's slate. Michigan, UCLA. So the Big Ten tournament schedule was moved up due to an expected weather on Friday. So there's going to be 4 Big Ten games today instead of what was previously scheduled as 3. The schedule was kind of jacked up, moved around. So I think DraftKings stripped this game. So there's no betting odds currently for Michigan, UCLA. No pitchers either. UCLA does not need to win this game to move on to the semifinals. They knocked off Illinois in a very, very tightly contested matchup. This trend in pool play conference tournaments hits at over 80%. Last year it went 3-1. It's automatic almost. The teams that already have a loss in the conference tournament with pool plays, just kind of rolls over. Whether it's they're going to trot out a couple of freshman arms to get them familiar with the conference tournament landscape and pitching in Omaha potentially for Michigan, what have you. But Michigan went all out in that first game. They threw all 3 weekend starters and their top bullpen arm in Will Rogers. So, yeah, I think they're going to go the freshman route. Look for Gavin Bradley and Tate Carey in this one. I think Carey's been good down the stretch, but definitely does not favor Michigan. But UCLA, I don't know how aggressive they're going to be in trying to win this game. And also when the odds come out, they're probably going to be like minus 200 or a little bit north of that. What I may look to do is parlay UCLA and Oregon against Michigan and Michigan State. Basically the same scenario. Both teams that have already locked up semifinal both teams that have already been eliminated and have nothing to play for. The percentage is pretty good that they lose those matchups. Illinois State and Missouri State is next up on my list of games here. This one was postponed last night due to weather, and it is the first game of the Missouri Valley tournament today. There still wasn't projected pitchers for the matchup the last time I checked. For Illinois State, I think it could be Tanner Perry. And for Missouri State, I have a good feeling that it's Jason Schaff. So the way that they've started off the weekend, going in order of their weekend rotation, it should be Schaff here, who on the season, he's 4-2 with a 6.13 ERA in 61.2 innings, 55 strikeouts, 27 walks, with a 4.18 Sierra. Opponents are hitting 271 against him, which is notable because Illinois State's playing at their home ballpark, and they did put up a boatload of runs in the first game against Indiana State. So if that offense is in a groove, Schaff is definitely gettable. And this thing could turn into a bit of an offensive fest. The first game in the SEC tournament today is Texas A&M and Auburn. Again, with these Texas A&M matchups, the last two have been screwed up due to that first day postponement. The game previews, the game notes told me that they were going to start Weston Moss in that would have been Tuesday night's game. They come out Wednesday morning and they throw Ryan Prager. He had a great start. I even said that I kind of expected a possibility of Prager throwing, and I would even like Mississippi State. Ate shit on that prediction, totally off. Their Texas A&M looked good. They hit a grand slam, Jace Laviolette there. And Mississippi State kind of kicked the ball around early, and they were done. So whether it's Weston Moss, who is projected to throw Tuesday night, or maybe they go Justin Lampkin, it's one of those two that would be my projection there. On the game notes that were written Tuesday night in expectation of Auburn knowing their opponent, they listed Cam Tilley as their expected arm. It very well could turn into Samuel Dutton, just like Weston Moss turned into Ryan Prager. But, Tilley has been a tough arm to really understand because nobody really hits him hard per se. He's got a 179 batting average against, but he's allowed 10 earned in his last 16.2 innings. He's been a guy that I typically like to fade with Auburn, and especially if Lampkin goes, like if this is news that is like an hour before first pitch, and it's Lampkin, I would look at Texas A&M because they do have their bullpen ace in Weston Moss ready to go. So feels bad, man, who's got an Auburn logo, says that it's Lampkin and Tilley. That's kind of my read. But yeah, not firing yet. I wasn't able to confirm that it is Lampkin. So that's something that I'll be looking forward to. Probably look for that news around an hour before first pitch there in Hoover, Alabama. But yeah, I would be looking to take the plus money with A&M there. My only kind of pause on Lampkin is that he had an outstanding start against Georgia, and he's kind of due for a setback, this week, a little bit of a letdown start. So yeah, we'll see about A&M, but at plus money, they should definitely be a play, and I would be looking forward to that. I love the chat. Actually, like we have some people in here now that it's not like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. So Austin Libro says missed off. Might have missed it, but we going with Toledo or Bowling Green to start the day. Do we have betting odds on that? We haven't really gotten MAC odds there. So I usually kind of skip through the MAC, but I'm kind of rooting for Bowling Green. No big rooting interest there, but Bowling Green's been one of those top 4 teams in the conference that I've been really excited about this year. making this MAC tournament kind of fun to watch. Kevin Roper saying, "Morning Noah, finally made a live show since it wasn't during the middle of the night." Bada bing, bada boom. I agree on your A&M take, says Auburn. David Matola asking what the seed flavor is. I got the OG going right now. The OG. I just put it off to the side. I got my spit cup here. Keeps me going through the long nights when I am grinding away at this. Libra is even saying minus 115 on Bowling Green. What's the book? Let me know what sports book. Oh, he says, okay. All right. I think so. Toledo's pitching is pretty good. That's my only concern there. I don't know who they're throwing. I didn't go and pull that arm. But yeah, they have the best pitching staff in the MAC. So early on in weekends, Toledo's been tough to beat. Their offense is actually the worst in the MAC. So you want to catch them later on in the weekend. So it's not exactly like the perfect time to bet BGSU, but that would be kind of where I would point you to is I think the Falcons are going to be able to get that done if they chase a starter early in that matchup. Before we continue on with the rest of the slate, we've got a big promo going on at the SGPN store right now over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Use the promo code DEGENS and you can get 20% off of any merchandise, whether it be TCE gear for the college experience, college baseball experience, football experience, basketball experience. There's a ton of different color combinations for your favorite school. There's even NFL, NHL, MLB. We've got a bunch of different gear over there that you may be interested in if you are a fan and commonly listen to the shows on this network. Highly encourage you jumping over there and checking some of that out. But the college baseball experience is also brought to you by Edge Boost, as they are the first ever bank account that is built for bettors. It ensures that all gambling transactions are approved. There are no usage fees, no minimum. You can earn cash back rewards. You can get a 100% approval for all betting deposits. Go over there and sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match the deposit. That is edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And SGPN is also partnered up with Underdog Fantasy because right now they are going long on the Underdog Pick'em platform for the NBA playoffs with their extender bonus. Hop in game one, and the longer that the series goes on, the bigger the bonus gets. Sign up today with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. And we are back here on the college baseball experience. Myself, Noah Bieniek, running through the slate of games for May 22nd of the conference tournament week that we are enduring right now. Durko Gaming says he's ready for West Virginia today. UCLA is only minus 156. That should be a play. Just off the top of my dome, I would list that like minus 200 range. Michigan used all three of their weekend starters in that first game to try to beat Illinois because they needed to win both in order to move to the Big Ten semifinals. UCLA only needed one win. They got that win over Illinois. They don't necessarily need to be too aggressive with that pitching staff, which is why I'm hesitant a little bit, but I still think that UCLA is able to get the job done and win the game. Just because there's nothing really left to play for Michigan. Just a couple of seniors and draft eligible guys that are going to try to go out with one last shebang, but that's the storyline with every one of these games. And it hits over at 80% on these plays. So Caitlin, yes, UCLA is going to be a play for me. So UCLA minus 156. I'm going to have to grab that book afterwards and go over there and play that. But, Yeah, we've got next up on the list that I have at least prepared for is Florida International and Western Kentucky. No confirmed pitchers for this one. No betting odds for this one either. Actually, no, we do have. Think so. I'm doing it late enough or early enough in the day where some of the games are being trickled out there now. WKU is minus 330. FIU is plus 240. The total is set at 11.5. But like I said, no confirmed pitchers in this matchup. Easton Marks is the next guy up in the Florida International weekend rotation if they continue to go that way. And for Western Kentucky, Jack Bennett hasn't thrown in a week and a half. He's been their game one guy for most of the season. Don't know what happened to him last weekend. I would have thought that if they gave him the weekend off for the conference tournament, they would have thrown him in game one. They did not. They almost lost that game and they went into extra innings. So I don't know if Jack Bennett's fully healthy, which is not a good thing for the Tops, which means they probably go to Drew Whalen. But again, not too confident in that projection there. The next game here is Utah Valley and Abilene Christian at noon 30 Eastern time. The Wolverines are plus 100. Abilene Christian's minus 130. It is Abilene Christian's first game of the week. Utah Valley's second. The Wolverines came through for us, cashed an easy money line yesterday. Today, not a slam dunk projection with their starting pitcher. They threw like a midweek guy yesterday. So they could either go with Luke Kimmel or Corbin Kirk were the guys that I kind of landed on here as the most likely arms that we see from the Wolverines. Abilene Christian, though, their number one for the year has been Cade McGarr. He is 4-5 on the season with a 6 ERA in 72 innings, 65 strikeouts, 28 walks with a 3.95 ERA. Okay, I think I'm back. What a shit show. Wi-Fi is back. But yeah, Utah Valley's pitching staff is not great. They threw 2 weekend starters in that first game, so it kind of throws the projection kind of out of whack here. They could go with Luke Kimmel or Corbin Kirk. Cade McGarr's not been great, but again, not really confident in either one of the pitching staffs, whoever they trot out for this game. Tulane and UTSA play each other in the AAC tournament winners bracket. Tulane is plus 325, UTSA minus 475, which is interesting because Tulane's always dangerous down in Clearwater. They've won the last 2 AAC tournaments. Luke Flata, who's been their game one starter for all season long, is 4-7 on the season and 7.40 ERA in 73 innings. He's got 62 strikeouts, 12 walks with the 374 Sierra. Opponents are hitting 330 against him, so not great numbers for the entire year. In his last 5 starts, it's been even worse, 9.27 ERA. So not great there for Flata. For UTSA, it's Zach Royce, who is 8-4 on the year. 5.08 ERA in 78 innings, 72 strikeouts, 26 walks with a 3.79 Sierra, 2.77 batting average against. He's been their number one for much of the season as well. He's got a 5.96 ERA in his last 3 starts there. So neither one of the starting pitchers are in great form. UTSA's offense has been more consistent all season long, but like I said, Tulane showed up in game one. They took care of business, and they've kind of been the biggest threat the last 2 years in this tournament. Jay Gunna says his cousin's pitching for Corpus Christi right now, and they're killing it. He says he actually plays for UTSA, not Corpus Christi, and he's the starting pitcher. Oh, that's great news. I hope he does well today. Crutch, what's going on, my friend? Caitlin saying thanks, Alpha, as Alpha says that UCLA is minus 140 over there at bet 365. Perfect. Yeah, definitely more actionable there than I even thought it could be. Yeah, just off the cuff, I was like, yeah, it's probably going to open at like minus 200. Good news for our system there. Let's see here. The next page of games that we can talk about. Georgia Southern and Louisiana play each other. Do we have odds on that one yet? We do. Okay. Louisiana's minus 110. Georgia Southern is minus 120. Georgia Southern was definitely a lot harder to project a pitcher here. They've already played 2 games. They beat Arkansas State in the play-in, and then they won yesterday as well to get to the winner's bracket against Louisiana. And yeah, I just had a tough time projecting the starting pitcher here. It could be Evan Vandenbosch, but it's like 3 starting pitchers deep down the depth chart there. For Louisiana, though, the way that they've opened it up yesterday, they did not go with one of their typical weekend starters. And last Thursday, Chase Morgan threw, who's been their number 1 for much of last season and this year. Chase Morgan's one of the better arms in the Sun Belt. He's 4-3 with a 3.83 ERA, 56.1 innings on the season, 65 strikeouts, 23 walks. Again, not confirmed that we're going to see Morgan, but I've got a pretty good hunch that it will be Chase Morgan. Minus 110 on the higher seeded team, first off, is definitely actionable. I like I like Louisiana here. The Ragin' Cajuns. Again, kind of just got to pick your spots with this, even though we don't have a pitcher confirmed. It's Georgia Southern's 3rd game of the week already, and Louisiana hasn't thrown a weekend arm yet. So that's a really good situation. Minus 110 on the Ragin' Cajuns there is a good bet. Let's see. Nathan Cerna's in here now, and Noah B, my guy. Brandon says, yo, that was an excellent call on Elliott last night. Dude really is coming into his own. Yeah, I mean, it's been a roller coaster of a year for Elliott. Just getting his feet under him early in the year. He wasn't going too deep. Then in the middle of the year, it was like, okay, this guy's really struggling away from home. But yeah, his last 5 starts have been his best 5 starts of the year. So, it was very cool to see him go out there and dominate. Even if I do have some rooting interest on the Gators, he looks like that dude from 2022, and that is great news for Ole Miss. I'm hoping that they don't play themselves into like a 14, 15, 16 seed, because then they're going to draw a really good 2. I want Ole Miss to be a really good 2 sent to a week 1. And I would really like Ole Miss to be like a dark horse 2 seed SEC team, because I like the makeup of that team. I really do. I think they've got a couple of bullpen arms that they can trust. It's an all senior weekend rotation, and the lineup's good. I think the lineup's solid. So Ole Miss is a team that I'm hoping for a good draw. But again, I'm not going to fire blind, because I think they need that draw. Next game in the Big 12 is Cincinnati and West Virginia. It's the Hugs Bowl. Dub V's minus 154. Cincinnati's plus 120. No confirmed pitchers in this one, but I got a pretty good feeling that it's going to be Carson Marsh against Griffin Kern. Marsh, 3-4 on the season for Cincy, 7.12 ERA and 36.2 innings, 40 strikeouts, 21 walks, and a 4.01 Sierra there. Last Thursday, Griffin Kern threw for Dub V. I think they're going to go with the lefty again. on the season. He's 4-2 with a 3.36 ERA and 77.2 innings. He has 83 strikeouts, 26 walks, and a 3.28 Sierra there. I like West Virginia to win the game. I have them going to the finals in this conference tournament, so I'm going to stick with that pick, even though I really like the Cincinnati team. Yukon loses an extra innings thriller yesterday. They blew a 6-0 lead, so that's never good. But they draw St. John's in the losers bracket, the first elimination game of the Big East tournament. No projected pitchers for this one. I don't even think we've got betting odds on it yet. Oh, no, we do. St. John's plus 250, Yukon minus 345 on DraftKings here. My projections of pitchers for this matchup would be Victor Frederick of St. John's and Tommy Ellison, who's been the best starter for Yukon this season. Both of those guys kind of fall in line with the rotation that they've begun to use. They threw their number ones yesterday, so these would be their SP2s. Official Straker saying a lot of your picks were spot on yesterday. I try my best. There were some instances where I did not predict something very well at all, like a Texas A&M. But I was on Mississippi State. I did not fire on that, but per se. But I had a good feeling that A&M might flame out of the tournament. But now they've got some momentum. They looked good. Maybe they even beat Auburn. We'll see. Charleston and Northeastern play each other in the CAA. This should be a good matchup. Charleston won a play-in. I don't know if it was a playing game or the first round game, because this is Northeastern's first game of the tournament. No projected pitchers for either one of these teams, with this being Northeastern's first game of the tournament. They played last Thursday. They threw Will Jones, who's been their best arm all season long. I would assume that Will Jones throws in the spot, and then it would be Daniel Brooks, who is the SP2 for the Charleston Cougars. They threw their number one yesterday. So Daniel Brooks on the season, 6-3 with a 4.29 ERA in 71.1 innings, 68 strikeouts, 19 walks. Will Jones has been one of the best mid-major pitchers of the year. Again, not a confirmed matchup, but I feel pretty good about us seeing a good pitching matchup between the two. Minus 250 on Northeastern's rich, but I don't know if I'm necessarily pointing you towards a Charleston play here either. It's probably just to sit down and enjoy this game, because I think these are the two most live teams to win the CAA. Maybe include UNC Wilmington in that bunch as well. Cal and Georgia Tech play each other in the ACC tournament today. Cal continues to pull off these 6 a.m. West Coast start time W's. Unfortunately for them, they've now basically used their entire weekend rotation in those two games. So who they turn to, I don't have the best clue. I think it could be JJ Hollis, but again, don't have a good clue of it. Georgia Tech is going to start Tate McKee. That is who is listed on the game notes here. Cal has a shot. They're plus 270. Georgia Tech's minus 375. McKee has not been good lately. His last 4 starts, it's a 12.33 ERA. That makes it a 5.40 ERA in the season in 66.2 innings, 67 strikeouts, 35 walks, 409 Sierra. Come on, Bears. Let's see some magic in the ACC. Continue this roll. Plus 270. It's kind of worth the sprinkle for how well this team's playing right now. It may be even like an over, more or less, more likely than a money line here. The total is 13. I kind of like it to go over that 13 there too. So The ball flies at the DBAP if you haven't watched any of these games yet this weekend. It's one of the most hitter-friendly ballparks in the minor leagues. The park factor's through the roof for the offense there. So, the ball flies, and the offenses have done pretty well so far in that tournament. Penn State USC is a game that matters a ton. The winner of this one goes to the semifinals of the Big Ten tournament. No pitchers listed for either one of these teams. This is pure gamesmanship. Penn State used their number one, though, in Ryan DeSanto, and kind of outside of him, the weekend rotation has been really iffy. Also, Southern Cal, they threw last Thursday freshman Andrew Johnson, who's been a really consistent arm for them all season long. Not necessarily thinking that they're going to throw that freshman in this big of a game today. It could be Caden Hunter, Caden Aoki, who's been their game 1, game 2 starters for much of the season. Those guys have consistently ran out there for weekend after weekend, but kind of down the stretch. So, really interested to see what USC does in this spot. Penn State made it to the championship game last year in the Big Ten tournament, I do believe. And they're plus 145 here already with a win under the belt. They could be frisky in this matchup against USC. USC does not possess the offense that's necessarily going to run away from the Lions in this matchup. So Penn State might be live in that matchup. No betting odds on this one currently. Actually, no, we do have betting odds on this one too. It's awesome that we're getting these games popping in as I'm going along here now. Grand Canyon versus Sacramento State. It's minus 115 both ways. The market always respects GCU, even though Sacramento State's been the 1 seed this season. Sacramento State won a weekend series against Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon's already played a game this week so far. This is Sac State's first game of the week. And they would probably go to Evan Gibbons, who's been their best arm. He's 9-2 on the year, 4.34 ERA in 83 innings, 61 strikeouts, 20 walks. And then Garrett Ahern is my projected starter for Grand Canyon. He's 6-4 on the season, 6.03 ERA in 71.2 innings, 78 strikeouts, 25 walks. With a 291 batting average against. This seems like a Sac State spot to me. Not necessarily going to pull the trigger. I don't really want to jump in front of Grand Canyon and that train in the state of Arizona. But, I think Sac State's got a really good chance to win that game. Christopher Games asks, are you taking Cal and Oregon together? No, not Cal. We'll talk about maybe another parlay partner for Oregon in a little bit here. A&M just announced that Lampkin is starting today. Yeah, I like A&M at plus 110 there. That's a good play with him going. Again, I do have some pause about Lampkin after that tremendous performance last week at Georgia. Not really sure he's going to be able to do that 2 weekends in a row. But A&M at plus money against Auburn. Sorry, Crutch, you know it. I think you know it at least, but I definitely think it, and I think I know it that Auburn pitching outside of the top 2 or 3 arms that can't really be trusted, and I'm not really throwing Tilly into the bucket of arms that I necessarily trust. That A&M with maybe some newfound mojo in Hoover, we'll see. I thought this team was dead and buried yesterday, and now I'm going to bet them today. It's hilarious. Before we continue on and finish out the slate of games here that we're going to talk about today, SGPN is partnered up with Rhythm. They're your home for AI-backed picks and props. You can dominate the NBA playoffs, PGA and MLB prop markets and game markets. Also, Rhythm just launched their WNBA product. Rhythm knows that you're going to love their platform, and that's why they are providing a 7-day free trial. Go over there right now to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm because they have some amazing deals going on right now. 25% off monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25. And you can also get a 50% off annual subscription with the promo code SGPN50. That is Rhythm, spelled RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. We are also brought to you by Circa Resort and Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. They are giving away the ultimate fantasy football prize, the experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs during your stay. The winner will receive a 2-night stay at Circa Resort and Casino for their entire 12-person league. That is 6 double king rooms. You can hold your draft at a cabana at Stadium Swim with $5,000 food and beverage credit, limo transportation to and from the airport. When you arrive, you will have a welcome party at Legacy Club for the entire league, a reservation at the world's largest sports book with $500 in beverage credits for the league, an open 2-hour bar package for the league at Overhang Bar. The contest runs from May 5th to June 30th. Go over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa to enter today. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. And the college baseball experience is also brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs. For the true degens, there is also the MyBookie money bag. It's basically like a pull tab or a ticket or a slot machine where you're spinning the wheel of random teams in a league or names in a competition, and you have the odds displayed in front of you before you even jump into it. But it's for true degens because you can land a good name and have some good value on that pull, or you could land a name that is much further down the board than what that odds were listed for that. It's easy to deposit over at mybookie.ag, and you can get lightning fast payouts using crypto. Head over to mybookie.ag right now. Use a promo code TCE SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That is mybookie.ag, promo code TCE SGPN. And we're home free on the college baseball experience. What's going on, everybody? My name is Noah Bieniek. We're running through the entire slate of games for college baseball conference tournaments on May 22nd here, a Thursday. Hope your day is going well today. Derek on Twitter says, hey, are these plays going to be posted? I'm late to the show. Yeah, I always post them, but no, you're not really late to the show. Kind of right in the middle of it, per se. It's been a slower moving show because we've got a lot more viewers tuned in, which is great. We've got over 50 of you guys watching live on YouTube right now, over 500 that have tuned in throughout the duration on Twitter. So good stuff there. I appreciate the company. Usually I'm doing this alone at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. during these tournaments, conference tournaments and NCAA tournaments for college baseball. This is the 4th year running that I've done this, but the latest / earliest I've done it. And it's a good turnout. I appreciate the company for sure. And definitely like one of the more well-regarded shows that we do every single year. I appreciate the feedback and everybody tuning in. In the SEC tournament, Tennessee and Texas are playing against each other today. So Marcus Phillips threw for Tennessee yesterday, which means that, typically Tony Vitello doesn't really play his pitching aggressively in Hoover, but Vitello teams do play really well in Hoover. So Liam Doyle, could he throw against the number one team in the country? I would assume that was probably the reason why he didn't throw yesterday, and that was why Phillips threw. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's TBAs for both teams. The books think that Tennessee's going to throw Liam Doyle. It's minus 188. Texas, the plus 145 here. I mean, you're getting a team that's on the hosting bubble against Texas, the number one overall seed, most likely in the NCAA tournament, and they're a dog. Who would be throwing for the Longhorns? Ruger Riojas was moved out of that game one role last weekend for Cade Bing. Bing threw on Thursday last weekend. Luke Harrison threw on Saturday in game 3. I don't think it's going to be him. I most likely think it's going to be Bing, and that would be a huge starting pitcher advantage in favor of Tennessee with Doyle on the bump. So Tennessee, I think, is in favor right now of winning the game. They've already got a game under their belt already too at Hoover. So, yeah, I think that, Texas has not played a game in Hoover yet in their program's history. So that also might work in the Vols' favor. And like I said, Vitello's teams play really, really well in the SEC tournament. So yeah, that is Nick Hathcote in the chat saying that it's because Phillips threw last Thursday and Doyle threw Friday against Arkansas. You are right. They didn't move Doyle from that Friday spot last weekend either. So maybe they don't even move him to Thursday. Yeah, I mean, if they were reluctant to move Doyle off of Friday last weekend, I don't know why they may move him off of Friday this week. So interesting note there for sure. But yeah, the odds makers for sure think that it could be Doyle on the bump. I didn't hear anything from watching the presser that Vitello did last night. So just left to project. I think it's Doyle against Bing, but not very confident in that whatsoever. San Diego State and Nevada are playing each other in the Mountain West tournament here. San Diego State knocked off UNLV in that playing game, the winner go home game. So the Aztecs have moved into the double elimination part of the bracket. And yeah, they threw their number 1 yesterday. So now Xavier Cardenas is their number 2, and Cardenas is not great. He's 1-5 on the year with an 8.08 ERA in 49 innings. He's got 59 strikeouts, 46 walks. The Sierra is not good either. It's a 469. Opponents are hitting 285 against him. Nevada would be throwing one of their, better arms in Peyton Fosher. Like, he's not great by any means. He's 5-4 with a 5.78 ERA in 71.2 innings, 73 strikeouts, 19 walks. The handicap for me yesterday against San Diego State was that I thought at elevation, UNLV's offense would be the better squad than the Aztecs, because that's kind of been the Achilles heel for SDSU this season. Nevada already plays at elevation as well, and that offense is unreal. So hopefully that translates, unlike UNLV's did. But that would be my pick once again. Again, like, not pretty, not sexy there. It's minus 315. I don't love it. Not be a play that I would recommend there. East Carolina and Charlotte play today in the AAC tournament. They got the day off yesterday, so that helped East Carolina quite a bit. Ethan Norby came out of that game with arm tightness, which is not a good sign. The day of rest does help a lot for the Pirates. It's a TBA for both teams. It could be Lance Williams or Sean Jenkins for ECU. But for Charlotte, I feel pretty good. Like, they threw Blake Gillespie in game 1, so if they followed up with their game 2 starter for back half of the season, it would be Andrew Cribbs, who's the JUCO transfer, previously also pitched for the Tennessee Volunteers too. Cribbs is 3-2 on the season, 4.13 ERA in 61 innings. He's got 60 strikeouts, 26 walks. Charlotte minus 135. ECU plus 105. The total is 11. I don't have a great feel on this game at all, honestly. But a lot of East Carolina's options outside of Norby aren't great. I've watched Cribbs throw. It's nothing that's going to blow your skirt up. But, yeah, Cribbs and Charlotte might be the pick there, which is, I mean, Charlotte sitting in that bracket final in the AAC tournament was not necessarily in the cards that I had for predictions, but Gillespie being able to deal them into this winner's bracket game was certainly one of the better possibilities. So maybe I should have saw it coming a little bit better. Old Dominion and Southern Miss play each other today. Do we have betting odds on this one yet? On DraftKings? No, it does not look like it, but TBAs for both teams, so not anything crazy. Both teams did go with their ace in game one, so they both follow up with their number twos. It would look like Blake Morgan for ODU here, 5-3 on the season, 4.35 ERA and 80.2 innings. He's got 63 strikeouts, 24 walks. And for Southern Miss, it would be Matthew Adams, who's 5-2 on the season, a 4.36 ERA, 64 innings, 70 strikeouts, 16 walks, and a 3 flat Sierra. So Southern Miss would be my pick in this one. Old Dominion did give me that win yesterday that I called on the show that they might be live against Troy, and they treated me well. So I'm going to go Golden Eagles on this one. And if ODU wins, I'll be rooting for them and the Monarchs. But yeah, nothing too confident in that matchup either. Let's talk about Oklahoma State and Kansas, because Oklahoma State threw Sean Youngerman yesterday, who has been really good down the stretch of the season here. But, Harrison Bodendorf still waiting in the wings. Could he throw against Kansas? I think it's the best offense that they're going to see on this portion of the bracket until the championship. Oklahoma State at plus 114 is definitely worth a look with Bodendorf on the mound. He's been really good in conference play. It's a sub 150 ERA in like his last 5 outings or something like that. And for Kansas, it could be Dominic Vagley again. Both of these teams TBA, and I don't really have a great feel on the projections. There were just the 2 pitchers that threw last Thursday for these 2 teams. Vagley was great against West Virginia. Prior to that, he'd been scuffling, throughout Big 12 play. Is he able to string together 2 consecutively good starts? We will see. But yeah, I like the Pokes arm a lot better here in Oklahoma State. Plus 114, not a bad look. However, that first game against Baylor, they did not play well. I think 3 of their runs were unearned. And one of Baylor's runs were unearned as well. Cowboys kind of got lucky in that one, but also the park played really big, probably swallowed up 2 Nolan Schubert home runs. So, Cowboys plus 114 is the pick there. I would wait until we know that Bodendorf's going to throw, and then I'd fire on Oklahoma State. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that matchup there. Hawaii and UC Irvine play each other today. This game's at 6 p.m. Eastern. TBAs on both teams here. Hawaii actually kind of went all out in that elimination game against UC Santa Barbara, which they pitched very well in. And I give them all the credit in the world for getting into the double elimination portion of the bracket here. But yeah, they kind of, it could be Itsuki Takamoto, it could be Liam O'Brien, but neither one of those guys have really pitched well since the first half of the season. So if they go, I favor UC Irvine, but also their offense has been not as great the last 10 games or so. And I would probably project that piggyback of Riley Kelly and Ricky Ojeda that have worked really well together so far this season is probably going to be the Anteaters move today. They're minus 230. It's not something I'm looking to play straight or in a money line, but the total of 14 could be worth an under, but overall, I'm not going to fire on this game either. Let's talk about that system play in the Big Ten. We've got another one of them, Michigan State and Oregon. So Oregon is not throwing Grayson Grinzel in this matchup because tomorrow they play Nebraska, and they'll need him more in that game when they're trying to pitch themselves and play themselves into a semifinal matchup. So I think it's going to be Colin Clark for Oregon. He's been their number 2 for 75% of the year. Michigan State, I have no idea what they're going to do with their pitching. They could take it a bunch of different ways, but they used the best 2 relievers in that game against Nebraska that they unfortunately blew. Not sure what the mentality of the team is going to look like in this matchup because they had the game won against Nebraska. Right fielder closed his mitt too early, dropped a game-winning fly ball, 3rd out of the 9th, and Nebraska walked it off the very next inning. So that was tough to watch. Oregon's minus 620 on DraftKings. Shop around. If they're a cheaper price, it's definitely more of a, more attractive parlay piece. Because, again, over 80% of these come through, at least in the ACC tournament since 2017. I'm going to tweet out the graphic with the updated record prior to these games kicking off in the Big Ten, because the situations are UCLA, Oregon, Iowa, the 3 best teams in the league all season long. The only one that I feel sketchy, iffy about is Iowa. UCLA, Oregon, I think are very good partners in a possible parlay there. Xavier and Creighton play each other in the winner's bracket of the Big East tournament. Like I mentioned earlier on the show, Xavier puts up, they were down 6-0. They come back and they win that thing in extra innings. Both teams did throw their number 1 in that first matchup. So if both teams go with their number 2, even though it's TBA for both squads, it would be Ryan Peach for Xavier. He's 4-1 with a 3.97 ERA in 56.2 innings, 63 strikeouts, 45 walks. Opponents are only hitting 174 against him, but it's a really weird stat profile as he's got a 4.61 SIERA. So really hard contact that really has not, found grass against him. So could be due for some regression, but overall, I like Peach, and I have since last year as well. And then for Creighton, it's going to be Jack Pinot, possibly again projected by me, but Pinot has been their number 2 for much of the year. He's 3-0 with a 5.12 ERA and 31.2 innings, 32 strikeouts, 17 walks, 290 batting average against. He's a guy that's not really going to give you a ton of length. But he's been pretty consistent throughout the year. No betting odds, at least on DraftKings, that I'm currently looking at right now. So we'll move on. But I think that Creighton gets that W in that matchup there. Clemson and NC State in the ACC tournament. The Tigers and Wolfpack currently do not have projected pitchers for this matchup. NC State's minus 125, Clemson minus 105. Last Thursday, it was Ryan Marone who got the ball for the Wolfpack. We'll see if he goes again. For Clemson, yesterday they threw Aiden Canuck. Today, they very well could throw Jude Titsworth, who's been their Game 2 starter for the back half of the ACC season. Titsworth on the season is 5-1 with a 4.14 ERA and 45.2 innings. He's got 45 strikeouts, 15 walks, and a 3.55 SIERA. In this game, though, I think NC State's going to get it. The Clemson pitching outside of Aiden Canuck has been so sketchy this year, and Clemson's offense comes in waves. If you don't allow them to get going, then they kind of just stay quiet the entire game. If you allow them to get some base runners on, they put up crooked numbers. That's the only way that they really pounce is they score multiple runs and quite a few innings in games, and I think NC State's pitching staff is good enough to keep them down. So minus 125 on NC State's not a terrible look. Again, I would prefer to know the pitchers here before firing on this matchup as well. But the Wolfpack would be my pick here. New Orleans and Houston Christian. This is your Southland tournament final series. It's a best of 3. The winner gets the auto bid for the Southland Conference and gets to play in the NCAA tournament. To be announced for both teams for whatever reason. Gamesmanship is what I will chalk it up to, but I'm assuming that these are going to be the game 1 guys for both squads. That's Grant Edwards and Parker Edwards, not related for what it's worth. New Orleans has Grant Edwards, and on the season he's got a 4.08 ERA in 75 innings, 91 strikeouts, 28 walks, 298 Sierra, 227 batting average against him. And Houston Christian has the Parker Edwards. On the season, he's got a 4.29 ERA, 77.2 innings, 67 strikeouts, 32 walks with a 4.17 Sierra. Both teams swept through their brackets last weekend, so really impressive weekends from both teams that honestly, kind of backed their way into this tournament. So not really sure what to project or predict to see in this matchup. I personally like the Privateers, and I've had a little bit more eyes on UNO this season. So I'll take New Orleans in the matchup. I think they might have the better pitcher in this just based off of paper. I'd be lying if I told you I saw a lot of both of these guys throw, but I'm very interested in tuning into the matchup today. In the SEC tournament, this is the final game of the day. Oklahoma and Vanderbilt will play against each other. Kyson Witherspoon was unbelievable in 8 innings to get them through against Georgia, to get them in this position. If they follow what they've done for the last couple of weeks after Kyson Witherspoon, it's been Cade Crossland. On the season, though, he has a 7.02 ERA in 57.2 innings, 72 strikeouts, 31 walks. His Sierra is a bit better, though, at a 3.45. Vanderbilt, I wasn't able to find a projected pitcher here, but it would probably be J.D. Thompson. He's thrown on Thursday last weekend. So I think they will probably keep that thing going. The Commodores going with their top gun. I like Vandy in this spot to put an end to the Sooners' run, but minus 220, again, a little too rich for my blood. Total of 10.5. Big ballpark. J.D. Thompson does tend to give up the long ball. It should help him out, the bigger park. So, yeah, I'm not really in love with the total or the side based on the price or the number. So, yeah, Vanderbilt, and I'd probably say the under is more likely there. Just runs seem to be at a little bit of a premium outside of the Tennessee and Texas A&M games that we saw yesterday. Murray State and Southern Illinois are playing each other in a loser's bracket game. Southern Illinois, I believe, is the 3 seed in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament, and Murray State's the 1 seed. Neither one of these teams have really announced their starting pitchers. They both threw off in their first game, and they both lost. So I'm expecting to see both number 1s go. It's Nick Schutt, Alec Nagut. I have no idea how to spell that name. Nigut. But yeah, or to pronounce that name. But yeah, I mean, Murray State, Southern Illinois, a lot of runs are going to be scored in this matchup. Southern Illinois, I think, lost 19-17 yesterday, which is unbelievable. Murray State's pitching staff is much, much better than a lot of the others in this conference. An early loss definitely does not help the case, but I think the Racers get that done in that matchup. We've got some chats rolling in here. Where do you post your plays? I put them on Twitter. I'll basically put them on the platform right after I'm done with this episode here. Not on Michigan Moneyline, unfortunately, Davion. Blaze saying Auburn and A&M thoughts. Rewinded about like 30 minutes. I talked about A&M and Auburn a little bit ago. I like A&M. I'm going to bet A&M when I get off of the show. Marshall and Coastal Carolina play each other tonight in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament winners bracket portion. The Thundering Herd and Chanticleers have not announced who they're throwing in this game, but I have a good feeling that it'll be both of their number twos. Jacob Morrison's been pitching like a number one for much of the year. And also, honestly, Griffin Miller of Marshall has pitched really good too. Both of these arms are great. If we get a total out, this is probably an underlook for me in Marshall and Coastal. Jacob Morrison's undefeated on the year. He's a perfect 10-0, sub-2 ERA. And Miller on the season, 7-3, 3.18 ERA and 79.1 innings. Both of these are really quality arms. I think Coastal Carolina gets the job done in a low-scoring matchup there. Houston and TCU play each other today. No pitchers projected on this one. I don't even have odds in front of me yet because Houston was the late game last night in the Big 12 tournament. They threw Paul Schmitz, and that was kind of out of order of their weekend rotation, so I don't know really what they're going to do. TCU did not announce a starting pitcher in press conference or the game write-up, so I'm going to assume that it's Tommy Lepore, but why would you use him against Houston? I don't really know. We'll see what happens in this matchup. Don't feel great about either one of those projections. So I think TCU wins and we'll move on. Plus 220 San Jose State against minus 298 Fresno State. The name here is really cool. His name is Wynn Scott, is the guy that I'm projecting for San Jose State to throw. They threw multiple starting pitchers in that first game, which makes this projection a little bit more tougher than I'd like. And Fresno State has not played a game yet in the Mountain West Conference tournament. So they'll go with their number one, Jack Anchor, who's had really bad luck this year. He's got 100 strikeouts in 83.1 innings. He's only got 12 walks, but yet his ERA is 5.94. Just every ball that's put in play has had eyes. He's got a 304 batting average against. The BABIP's high, yet the Sierra is 248. So this is a quality arm. Last year he was really good. Second time through the conference, though, scouting report probably got a little bit better, and the luck hasn't been great. Austin Libro says Bowling Green up 5-0 so far. That was a game that he asked me earlier on the show, and that was probably 45 minutes ago. That's great. Love seeing that it aged so well during the show. So, yeah, I like the Bulldogs in this matchup over San Jose State. St. Mary's and Gonzaga are the penultimate game that we're going to talk about here. Actually, no, the third to last game that we're going to talk about here on today's show. St. Mary's, no projected pitcher. They actually threw multiple starting pitchers in their first game as well. So tough projection. It might be Derek Iquinto, who hasn't started a game in recent weeks, but he's been coming out of the bullpen as a reliever. Iquinto last year was one of their better starters. So if they trust him in this spot against Gonzaga, it's definitely interesting. Gonzaga is currently the underdog against St. Mary's, which I wouldn't really agree with, just based off the two teams here that we're talking about. Had to pause to take a drink here. But yeah, Gonzaga's been one of the better programs in this conference the last, decade. So this price really is confusing to me, especially since St. Mary's has thrown some of their better starters already. And Gonzaga does have a confirmed pitcher here, or at least in the write-up it says that they're going to throw Finbar O'Brien, which is a hell of a name as well. He's 6-0 on the season with a 5.12 ERA and 70.1 innings. He's got 83 strikeouts, 31 walks, and a 3.30 SIERA. And O'Brien, though, in his last 5 starts, he's been leaking oil a little bit. It's a 7.32 ERA. But, I mean, he's a quality arm at plus 105 for Gonzaga. That's worth a look for sure. Honestly, probably one of the better worth a looks on today's show with all of these TBAs across the board. Let's talk about one of the possible better pitching matchups of the day. Fullerton and Cal Poly do battle in the Big West tournament. Both of these teams' first games of the week. So I think both of them are going to probably throw their number one. That would mean Micah Negrete and Cal Poly's Griffin Ness. If that happens, buckle up. This should be a great matchup. Negrete has been kind of a roller coaster ride for the back half of the year, but Ness has been really solid. That's why Cal Poly is minus 180 here. It is on Fullerton's campus for what it's worth. They're plus 140. But I think the Mustangs are a really good shot to win the tournament, not only just this game. So I'm pulling for Cal Poly. I want them to get into the NCAA tournament. I think they're a solid team that, for whatever reason, they don't really have many quality wins. So, I just think it's a really weak bubble this year. I mean, a lot of ACC teams just fell flat on their face this week. So Arizona BYU thoughts. That was one of the first games that I talked about. So I rewinded about 55 minutes and you'll have that, but not too deep on those two teams because I wasn't able to really find pitchers. So for that matchup, Owen Kramkowski is going for the Wildcats for what it's worth. BYU wasn't able to find pitchers, and Kramkowski's not been good recently, so I don't really have a great read on that besides maybe an over. Fullerton, Cal Poly should be an outstanding matchup. Final game of the day that we're going to talk about on this list of games that I have in front of me here is Indiana and Iowa. So this is one of these games that does fall in the betting system that has been hitting at over 80% over the last, I think like 7 tournaments in the ACC before they got rid of this pool play format. I'm going to tweet out the record and everything after this show. Iowa's probably the team that I'm most hesitant to pull the trigger on in the Big Ten system today because Indiana is going to throw Cole Gilly. They had him slated to always throw against the Hawkeyes. They were hoping to win the Rutgers game without throwing Gilly. It didn't happen. But Indiana's staff has been garbage outside of Gilly this season. Gilly has been really good. He's 9-3 with a 3.88 ERA and 62.2 innings, 73 strikeouts, 18 walks, 281 ERA, SIERA, 214 batting average against. And Iowa doesn't need this game. I think they probably go Tyler Guerin just because he's not one of their weekend arms and he's been a midweek starter here and there. But yeah, Gilly has a 0.56 ERA in his last 4 starts. He's been grooving. I think that if there is one that I'm pulling off, it is Iowa. I'm not necessarily betting Iowa against Indiana today with Gilly on the bump. I just think that he might be able to deal here. And also, Iowa fans on Twitter don't seem very happy that they're playing a meaningless game It's not meaningless for us bettors because I love my 80% plus systems. But yeah, that's going to wrap up the slate of games that I was running through. The favorite looks that I have today. I think that BYU Arizona over is a good look. I haven't bet that one yet. People were talking about minus 140 UCLA on Bet 365, minus 156 FanDuel UCLA money line there. Definitely go over there and jump on that price. Texas A&M plus 110 is one of my favorite plays. Louisiana minus 110 against Georgia Southern with Chase Morgan on the mound for the Raging Cajuns. I like them in that spot there. It's just a really tough day, like I mentioned on yesterday's show, and I've mentioned earlier today. Both Wednesday and Thursday of conference tournament week, you really have to pick your spots because you don't know what the coaches are planning on doing with their pitching. Sometimes they want to hold their aces for Fridays and get them back on schedule for the NCAA tournament next weekend. Some aces have already thrown. Some teams have already thrown 2 or 3 of their weekend starters, and it's kind of a shit show with the entire pitching projections. We will get a better picture of it when we get down to Friday, Saturday, Sunday of the conference tournaments. Is just how it works every single year. So I appreciate everybody that tuned in live today. Over 50 of you tuned in live on YouTube, and over 900 have at least kind of Twitter algorithm. It spits out random numbers. I know 900 haven't literally clicked in and watched, but everybody that scrolled through it, I appreciate at least your scroll. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're looking for more content from me throughout the college baseball season, you can follow me at NoahB77_. You can follow this show at TCE on SGPN. Hit that like button if you like this content. It'll continue throughout conference tournament week, throughout the NCAA tournament, night shows most of the time because I'm not going to take a nap because I don't find any pitchers. But yeah, night shows for a lot of it. That way, I can get the morning download on podcast platform because a lot of those guys don't necessarily see me live on Twitter or YouTube. So, but yeah, leave a like, rating, review, subscribe wherever you're going to listen to this podcast, whether it be YouTube or podcast platforms. This has been the college baseball experience. You all better enjoy these games because it's the last time that we're going to see 80% of these teams play college baseball this year. It's good to get your eyes on a bunch of different levels of college baseball because some of the studs from the mid-major ranks are going to become some of the better players in the Power Four next year. So it's always good to beat everybody else to the curb is what I like to say. This has been the College Baseball